Poco X4 Pro. If you want to get a mid-range smartphone that makes photos as good as a flagship. But is there a catch? Let's inspect. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm your Tech Mishka and we continue to inspect fresh and cool tech. So that's the smartphone we're going to try out today, but I just want to show you right next to Redmi Note 11 Pro. So this Poco and the Redmi Note 11 Pro are very similar, with major difference here around the camera and whatever the structure is. And also the other major difference, besides the color, the Poco weighs 3 grams more, most likely because of the extra plastic used for the camera surroundings. But it's also having a glossy back which covers and captures a lot of fingerprints. But other than that, because we're going to give it the same special treatment, it's gonna feel like a déjà vu. And if you have missed the full review of Redmi Note 11 Pro, go ahead and check it out. We're certainly going to try to cover the most important topics here for the Poco X4 Pro and figure out, is it a worthy choice? Looks like Poco X4 Pro is gonna step up against Realme 9 Pro, which comes with very similar spec sheet, and I would appreciate if you share with me which of both you prefer and why. At a price tag close to $250, they seem to be the best value choices for smartphones in 2022, with a huge remark that this year I'm bitterly disappointed in quite many of the new phones. For instance, the total fiasco around OnePlus 10 Pro bend test, the lack of a new image sensor with the Galaxy S22 Ultra, or the very incapable Snapdragon 695 when it comes to video processing. There are a lot of things that the industry should sort out. The unboxing feels pretty much the same way as it does with the Redmi Note 11 Pro. Since most dimensions are virtually the same, the box has the same kind of design and accessories. There are some papers and a decent protective case. I do appreciate the fact Xiaomi offers such an advanced protection, because this type of case is gonna keep your phone safe in case you drop it on the ground. Apparently, safety is being prioritized over aesthetics, but this is always the more important part about using a phone, to actually keep it in one piece. The 67-watt charger, this is one of the 2 flagship-grade components on the Poco X4 Pro, and a cable. Unlike most other Xiaomi-made phones, this one did not arrive with a pre-installed screen protector. I had to do this on my own. I'm not sure if all the batches of the model are gonna be the same though. Design is familiar. The major highlight of most Poco phones is the enclosure of cameras, which covers the whole upper side of the back of the phone, similar to the idea used with Mi 11 Ultra and Google Pixel. Since the area happens to not be the usual spot where you place your fingers, it doesn't have much of impact on the ergonomics, and looks like Poco are trying to keep consistency across their model's design. Before I make my comments about the performance and show you some real-life results, quick tour on the spec sheet. 6.67-inch AMOLED display covered by Gorilla Glass 5, Snapdragon 695 system on a chip, 6 or 8 GB RAM, 64 or 128 GB storage, micro SD card slot, 5000 mAh battery, 67-watt fast charging, 108-megapixel main camera, 8-megapixel ultra-wide camera, and various connectivity options and standards, including 5G, of course. All of that weighs exactly 205 grams. So out of everything, besides this fresh new look, which kind of borrowed from the Redmi device, but you see these beautiful lines which are kind of changing under the light. That looks good, captures fingerprints though, and you can use a protector in order to avoid it. Kudos to Poco for including such a good protector. You can see that besides the edges, they are so well protected. I would say even if you drop it on the ground, there's zero chance something to break, unless there's a sharp object which kind of impacts the display. Anyhow, so there are 2 flagship-grade components. The charging, the 67-watt turbocharging, which according to Poco is going to give you 50% battery within around 15 minutes. And the second one, that's the main 108-megapixel image sensor, which is the HM2 by Samsung. And a very similar addition is used with the S21 and S22 Ultra, however a bit bigger in terms of scale. Therefore, don't be surprised by the lovely image quality. It is indeed amazing, and these photos are a lot better not only than most similar priced phones, but also better even than some flagships from last year. The ultra-wide camera is okay. Well, since the focus is on the main camera, the supporting other options are not that spectacular. The ultra-wide image sensor handles well most of the situations in daytime, with some remarks. In certain cases, if you don't have a stable hand, you're gonna notice softer image and potentially out-of-focus areas. As for the macro camera, it is just acceptable being only 2 megapixel. You won't be able to zoom in that much in micro mode, and I would go for a zoomed-in image from the main sensor, now with a tripod as opposed to a super macro mode. The already well-known weakness of the processor inside, however, is notable with video recordings. Snapdragon 695 is a good mid-range choice, supporting 5G on a budget, but Qualcomm have decided to imply some limitations about video processing and, well, 1080p 30 frames per second is the maximum. This has been good achievement for smartphones from 4-5 years ago. I can already sense the amount of dissatisfaction surrounding the SD695 because of that, but clearly this is currently the only up-to-date mid-ranger from Qualcomm's portfolio which is suitable for such kind of smartphones. I wouldn't be surprised to see the rise of MediaTek chipsets in the mid-range segment this year because, let's be very honest, the Dimensity line performs really well. What we have here inside is by Qualcomm, and the Snapdragon 695 is not that bad. I mean, in terms of processor performance, GPU performance is good, but there are a lot of limitations with the video recording because, theoretically, if we shoot in 1080p with high bitrate, it should be good, sometimes even better than more basic 4K cameras. But the truth is that here the video footage looks choppy and not on par with the expectations. And in many ways, I've seen your comments online, this Snapdragon device feels like an underachiever. So, to be straight and short about the qualities of this 108 megapixel camera, it would take marvelous photos, doesn't matter daytime or nighttime, and it would offer subpar video quality. Meaning that if you don't buy this phone in order to shoot too many videos, I'm pretty sure you're gonna notice mostly strengths about the camera performance. Speaking of the rest of the components, due to the mess around video recording, I've been skeptical about the system-on-chip performance in general, but it actually surprises me with very steady performance and lack of overheating and therefore throttling. This is indeed one of the most annoying parts around these processors. If they get too warm, the maximum frequency is gonna go down in order to let them cool down. In the case of Poco X4 Pro, even after 30 minutes of intensive stressing, the CPU has remained in the green zone, so although you're gonna find this statement surprising, this phone is actually pretty good about gaming on a budget. Not only it's gonna run most of the games, but you can actually play them at a maximum resolution without skipped frames or whatsoever. This is quite a nice surprise. I've really enjoyed the performance with Asphalt 9 or Rio Racing, or even shooters like Call of Duty. They're as smooth as if I'm playing with Mi 11 Ultra. Since gameplay is the topic, no way not to mention the display qualities: 120Hz refresh rate, very nice looking, excellent angles of visibility, and even covered by Gorilla Glass, besides the screen folio on top of mind, of course. Battery life is also very decent. A modern CPU combined with battery-friendly operating system and turbocharging is what a lot of people are going to appreciate. Poco X4 Pro definitely delivers. It charges a lot faster than old Samsung Galaxy flagships from the past 2 years and looks to compete with brands like OnePlus and Realme about quick charging capabilities. There are, as usual, a few versions of the phone with different amounts of storage and RAM, so if you bought the cheaper option and you prefer to further expand the storage, you can use a micro SD. It's a hybrid slot though, which means you can either use 2 SIM cards or a SIM card and a micro SD. Speakers, another great strength, they do sound fantastic, and while Poco highlight the high-res audio capabilities, there is Dolby Atmos icon in the quick settings, so it is supported, and you're going to love the way these speakers sound. Now, the elephant in the room, the software. It is Android 11 with the MIUI 13 skin. I was hoping it's gonna launch with Android 12, but apparently not. It will for sure arrive though, when exactly? Hard to say. I did notice some more bloatware as compared to Redmi Note 11 Pro. The bloatware is removable, you can get rid of most of the apps, especially the games. The rest of them, like Facebook and Spotify, are perhaps something you're going to use anyways. You're going to get the same grade of MIUI experience as it is with the Redmi or Xiaomi product lines, with the difference that here we have the Poco launcher, which is lighter and in my opinion better edition of the regular MIUI launcher. Of course, you can replace it by any other type of launcher that you prefer. Highly customizable, full of features, there also is the themes engine, one of the very few Android editions which have the possibility to actually make the phone look the way you like it. The phone performs well, snappy most of the time. Sometimes I did notice minor animation issues when clearing apps from the cache, but it's been performing mostly well. Excellent for web browsing, photo editing, social media and so on. This phone may not be designed to compete with the flagships, but the user interface is definitely fun to use and very responsive. Of course, in terms of apps and software, options are countless because you can use any app from Google Play Store. So, the golden mean. Is this what the Poco S4 Pro is all about? I'm still not that convinced, and to be really honest, it's more or less the Redmi Note 11 Pro with a slightly different outlook, 3 grams of extra weight, a little more bloatware, and slightly better price. So take it or leave it. And if we go like 12 months back, when Poco X3 Pro was released, well, it still seems to be a very reasonable choice. First of all, it has a lot better performance, a bit more features, and, well, it lacks 5G and the really good 108 megapixel camera, but really gives you a lot of room for discussion and thoughts whether you should stay with the Poco X3 Pro or this, which I wouldn't say really feels as an upgrade, especially if you don't care about 5G connectivity. So what is your opinion about all that? Let me know, and I will really hope to see you very, very soon. So if you stick around, there's going to be more cool tech inspections. I'm Michael. I wish you for a fantastic day. Bye.